Hello everybody, welcome back to another weather video. Today we'll be taking a look at this major nor'easter that actually has been trending more westerly, so it looks like more places are in fact going to get into the major snowfall. But before I get into that, I'd like to cover the rest of the country first before we get into the big part of this video. First off, you still have your air quality alerts in the northwest, as same thing as yesterday, nothing really has changed. You have some scattered winter weather advisories anywhere from the border of Wyoming, South Dakota, all the way down into the border of Colorado and New Mexico. In the south, excuse me, in the south you have freeze watches in southern Texas and on the border and into both states actually, into Florida and Georgia. But before I actually keep moving on, I just want to tell everybody it's going to get ridiculously cold down here, especially in this area. Miami's going to have wind chills of 33 degrees, believe it or not. And there's special weather statements up for watching out for falling iguanas out of trees, believe it or not. When it gets that cold, iguanas, they go to sleep for a little bit. They hibernate until it gets warm. So they actually fall out of trees and hit people, believe it or not. And it's going to be ridiculously cold down there, especially for Florida standards. In the mountains, you have winter storm warnings and advisories anywhere from the border of Tennessee and North Carolina all the way up into the border of Virginia and West Virginia. By the lakes, you also have winter weather advisories for lake effect snow. And the moment you all have been waiting for, winter storm watches and now warnings in the Delmarva all the way down here into coastal parts of New Jersey. Tonight or tomorrow morning, they will expand this into here most likely, and then eventually into Maine, New Hampshire, and the rest of Massachusetts. But if we take a close up right here, where the winter storm warnings, you could see it's in the most southern part of Maryland, Delaware, and like I said, coastal counties of New Jersey. This is where your jackpot is really going to be. Yeah, I'll expand it out a little bit more so you can really see what I'm going with. Your jackpot's really going to be in this area right along the coast because you really won't be having any mixing issues. So you'll stay all snow. And the more west if you're on the coast, you want this to come more west. It's gonna be very cold. You don't have the chance to go above freezing really, unless it's right on top of you or very close. And the snow ratios are going to be absolutely absurd with this storm. You could see maybe places, if it does get cold enough, 15 to maybe some inland, a little bit inland of the coast, 20-to-1 ratios. That's ridiculous. You don't see that every so often. And then as you go up into Maine, you also have winter storm watches. Now, you know how yesterday I said the GFS is on an island alone, standing alone really, with this idea of offshore track? Well, especially in 18Z, it did come a big deal west. So this is what we have right now. If we do a couple runs back, you can see it's been fine with the vorts coming down from the northern stream and the southwest. It's been doing fine with that, but if you continue to move on, you can see look how much better this looks. Oh, actually, it's one more, or one more. I'm sorry, guys. Here you go. You see how this fort right here on the last run? Let me just pull this up real quick. On the last run, you see it's more like this. It's going on an angle down, and then you have this lagging a little bit behind. Compare this to now, it's more straight down. You have this. The reason why you want to go straight down like that is because it gets the phase off quicker, which it really did do this run. These are your pieces you want to look at. Then you have a trough that forms and then eventually goes negative, and you have your storm go up the east coast. You'll see in a moment here. You keep going. You see, you want this to dip as far south as possible. The past 3 runs, it's been going more and more south, which allows the storm to dig more and then eventually go negative. See, this is what you have right now. It's almost neutral already. You go back a couple runs, it's more positive looking. And then if you go back to now, you can see it's more neutral, straight up and down. If you're positive, your trough will look like this. But if it's negative, your trough will look like this. You'll see this stat in a moment here. You see here, this is a negative trough. You're going straight from northwest to southeast pretty much for a negative trough, and you want to pretty much kick it out to the east pretty much. If it was positive, you would kick the storm out to the east, but since it's negative here, you're going to have the storm go right up the coast. This is all your convection out here that gets the storm going. And this could really be a very big storm for some places. Look at this storm. Look at that shift. You have your low pressure out. This would be a low pressure, right? Roughly. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. But go back a couple runs, you see? And now this is where it is. It's more south and west because you have more time to let this storm come up and intensify. This could really make a big difference in some parts of the country, especially in this area where I just circled. If you want to go over to the European, I'll go back. Actually, before we do that, I'll show the surface map, precipitation map. As much as I hate it, I'll still show it. You see, here already, you have your low over here. It's all the way south. Look at that big difference alone. Just go back. Yeah, right here. This is where your northern extent of the snow was for the GFS. You see, that's where it was. And this is it now. That's a big, big difference. This is where your heavy snow is now. You can see it's pretty much right here. And if you go back one run, it's all the way offshore. Nobody's getting into that. Take another run forward. Look at this. Now, it's still having really hard time with this storm because what is this? It's not going to be elongated. It's going to be like a tight circle down here. So I have no clue what it's doing really still. Go back around and see that really wasn't a problem, especially the third one you go back, that really wasn't a problem. But the trends are west, so it looks like areas closer to the city, down into coastal New Jersey, Delmarva, all the way back up into this area will be getting, oops, sorry. Anywhere in this area really will be getting a little bit more snow, and maybe a little bit is an understatement to some areas, especially out by Plymouth. Remember yesterday, if you watched the video, I had a very good chance of seeing a flip plus, while Noah is now thinking about putting a band of 30 to 36 inches over Plymouth. You don't see that very too often. That's ridiculous numbers. Absurd numbers, I should say. And if you want to continue, a storm, at least for Long Island, starts, depends how this front interacts with the storm, so it could start around 7 or 1. But after that, it doesn't end till 7 p.m. Saturday. So it could be a full 24-hour event for some places, especially up the more north you go. And this is a total precipitation. I'm not going to pull up the snow app because they suck, especially when your total snow ratios aren't going to be 10 to 1. And you can see you have only 10 to 1 ratios, and that snow depth thing is not too good. But this is where your 0.5 is. So if you were to do 10 to 1, that's where your 5-inch line is. But since it's not going to be 10 to 1, I would think your 6-inch line is all the way back to the city. That alone, with just one run. One run. So this is where the 0.5 is, right? This run. If I switch it to the 12Z, it's so much farther off. And if you go to the 6Z, it's even further off. And you go here, huge difference, huge. And the GFS gives 2 over here. It's backed by Plymouth. Plymouth is going to get destroyed no matter what. You're going to see a blizzard. Anywhere in this area really is going to see a blizzard. And if the NAM is right, this whole region is going to see a blizzard. Even though I think that's a little bit overdone. But anywhere in that Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Cape area is going to get absolutely destroyed with this storm. Now, I want to pull up the NAM real quick because, well, the NAM has been looking a lot more like the European. The GFS is starting to go a lot more like the European. I'll just show you what the vort's looking like. So you see, I actually gotta expand it out a little more. So you can see the northern part. You see how the northern part is straight up and down now, like the GFS is starting to go to? And then you have your neutral, just about neutral, getting ready to go negative for trough, right where it should be, honestly, if you want a big storm. And then it goes absolutely crazy with this system. If you want to go to the surface real quick and get a close-up, you will see that you have a 958, oh no, 957 just east of Nantucket. This is right near the benchmark, if not just a little bit south and east of the benchmark. If this wants to trend up here, this whole region is going to get a foot plus. And the name already gives a foot plus in a lot of regions, areas with this run. This is absurd. If this were to verify, parts of the Northeast would be paralyzed for a couple days. Power outages would be numerous. And the cold, bone-chilling temperatures on the backside, especially the wind chills. I'll pull it up later, but this is just actual temperatures, and this would be the high. The high is gonna be in the 20s. Like it's cold. Especially if you lose power, that's freezing. No heat, no nothing. That's horrible. Now, if you want to go to the European real quick, you can see it has been doing this for a while. The GFS has been caving to it. See how straight up and down this is pretty much? Then you have your other vortex that's going to try to go out in front and phase with the system, which inevitably it does. You see, it gets out in front, starts to go, and explodes off the coast. You have your convection out here. You have your negative trough. You have your negative trough, and then as the storm continues, and like I said yesterday, as the storm goes over the warm Atlantic Ocean temps, it's just gonna explode. Now, if you want to get a close up on the total precipitation, I'll get a close up and go to northeast here. Northeast. This is what the precipitation totals is. The blue is the 5. Remember, 5 is all the way back towards this area. This would probably be your 6-inch. Actually, no. Since you're dealing with higher ratios, your 6-inch line would probably be back to here. Give or take. Give or take. This is where your foot plus is. This is where your foot plus is if it would be 10-to-1 ratios, even though it's not. Roughly, that's where it'd be. But I would think the foot plus would be here. So everything shifts a good 20-30 miles west since due to these cold temperatures. I would put up the precipitation. Actually, I could pull up the precipitation on the European, on pivotal, and if you want to get a close-up on what the precipitation looks like, this is what it would look like for you. You see, a little of the heavy, the pink, not this purple, the pink, that's where you're going to get absolutely destroyed. Boston, Nantucket is just, it might go over to it in the end, but Plymouth, maybe eastern parts of Long Island. This storm is looking more and more like a massive snowstorm every day. Now, I'm not going to make a snow map just quite yet. Tomorrow, like I said yesterday, I'm going to make a snow map tomorrow. So, I did increase the odds for a major snowstorm Saturday. This is what I have. And if you want to compare it to yesterday, try to put it up. Oops, sorry. Sorry about that. That's from an old video. How the hell did I get to that? There we go. If you want to compare that to yesterday, I'm not sure if you could see it quite well, but you could see the 75% shifted a ton west, significantly west. The Delmarva, all of the coastal New Jersey, Long Island, almost into New York City. New York City just needs one more push west to get into that 75% or more. Northwestern Connecticut is out of the 50% mark, just barely, not by much. You really don't need much to get into that 75% plus. But anywhere in the red, 75% chance of a major snowstorm Saturday. The blue, I would say, is yes, the blue. I'm sorry about that. The blue is going to be 50% chance. Now it does look, it's going to be tight. The cutoff is going to be really tight. I would think for now, north and west of the city is going to be 50, and if the more northwest you go, especially back towards Albany, your chances get even lower. It's going to be a real sharp cutoff. No matter really what happens, even if it still comes northwest, the track, it is still going to be a sharp cutoff somewhere. Tomorrow, I will update you guys on my final snow map, even though I didn't really make a snow map, but I'm going to make my final prediction. And yeah, we'll compare it to what the models are doing on radar, especially with the vorts, see which one's closer. But the past couple days, I will say this, and this is why I sort of expected the GFS to maybe cave, but I was also feeling the European could also cave. The European was doing a lot better with the observations on the west coast with the ridge. So that's probably why it caved to the European, the GFS. Thank you all for watching today. I promise I will get a video out tomorrow. I might be a little bit later because I have to do something, but I promise there will be a video coming out. But before I go, I just want to highlight this area real quick. I change it to color. This whole area over here, let's say, has a great chance for a blizzard warning. If it continues to shift west, then of course you could get your blizzard warnings out to here. So if you're I would say this, if you're east of New York City and you're in the 75% plus and you're relatively close to the coast, let's say 10, 20 miles, you definitely have a shot at seeing a blizzard warning tomorrow. That'll be it for today, guys. I hope you really did enjoy this video, and see you tomorrow.